So we got a 2003 Acura, and this is a CL Type S. Now that all fell off long ago. And I've got a bad door panel, and somebody wanted a full video on that, so I'm going to take the whole video of removing this door panel and installing a new window regulator. Alright, so I'm going to get to work on this thing, and you guys are going to get a blow by blow. Hopefully, wear you out talking too much, but this is the part right here. This is a Dorman. It's from O'Reilly, 751164. Now, about a year ago, I replaced this little guy, and you know, we're having to do it again, and it kind of sucks. But you know, you got to do what you got to do. I mean, that's who's got the parts. And I'm not going to go buy a $500 or whatever Acura one from the dealer, so I can just go ahead and replace this one again and be done with it. It's lifetime warranty. You got to pop this little guy off here. This has a plug in it. I'm hoping that y'all can see all this. It's really hard to see everything and get the camera in the right spot. But you got to unplug this plug, take this little guy off. This thing here, it just slides forward. Forward or backwards, I don't remember which way. Hold on. Just mess with it a little bit. Yeah, slides forward a little bit and then it unlatches. Okay. And then right behind here, there's a small latch back there. I always like to use these long needle nose pliers to unlatch it with. Just click that little feller out like so. And you pop it straight up and it comes out. And you got two plugs here. Plug for the memories. So you get rid of those. But yeah, when you disconnect this thing here, you have to turn it and pop that rod up. And that's the two plugs that come out for that. Now I had repaired this before. I made it out of aluminum. And of course, it got broke again, so I had to make another piece. But yeah, that's why this looks like this. I need to sand this down and paint it, which I hadn't got around to, but I was really mad that this cheap little plastic thing would break inside here. There's not much to it. Might have something to do with the user. No names. I'm not going to give you any names. Anyway, so this part here, there's nothing here. There's a screw right here that you have to take out. And this sometimes this ratcheting screwdriver will do it, and sometimes you just have to do it with a straight one. So get rid of this screw, and you can use a power tool, but I would recommend putting it back together with a power tool. If you're just looking for trouble, blow out that nylon insert that's inside the door. I think that's it. That screw, sometimes it feels like it's not screwing out all the way, but you can hear it bounce on that last thread, okay? So that's good enough. It's kind of wedged in that hole. So alright, so this part here, you just want to grab the bottom of this door and find a place where it's come out a little bit, like right here on this corner, and pop those little fellers out. It's got those push pins all the way around it. And you wiggle it around. Get that door panel to pop off. And then once you get it off this way, you got to unplug some of these plugs. You got a bunch of plugs in here. And of course, the way the camera is, you can't see it all, so I just have to do my best to show you what it looks like afterwards. We'll get them out, because Acura, for some reason, they decided that all this stuff needed to stay on the door. Sometimes it's hard to get to, so turn it over. Around the back so you can see it. There. Alright. That's the end of that. Set that door panel somewhere so it doesn't get fried. Usually I put it right there where that camera is, right behind me. There's that screw that I was messing with. It finally fell out. And here's the plugs that you're going to unplug. And they're not that hard to unplug. You just kind of have to reach around, and each one has the typical push the little tab down type situation there to get it to unplug. So there you go. There's that. Now this has been apart a couple times, so all this plastic has been messed with and pulled off and put back on with a Hail Mary, man, because sometimes this stuff just falls apart. And sometimes you'll take the door panel off and this stuff will be gone. You're taking it to a shop somewhere and they just rip that thing off, man, and destroy it and throw it in the trash. So I try to preserve this because this protects the door. This protects the moisture level from getting inside here. So alright, so our window, we're having a problem with the window, and right now it's stuck in the down position. And it looks like I'll be able to push it up, so that's good. I just want to push it up enough. Well, it's not going to go. All I want to do is push it up enough so it'll get to these two holes here. And it won't go there right now, so you have a couple of options. You can get a boxing wrench and reach in here and loosen those up. They're pretty easy to get out. Or you could reach in there and cut the cable. Cut the cable with some dikes. So that's, you can do it anywhere you want. Once you get that window loose, you'll need to put it in the up position and tape it down with some tape. I've got some tape here. Tape it in the up position, or at least tape it in a position so that these two little fellers are lined up, because that's where you're going to need it when you're done. When you're done installing that window crank assembly, you're going to need to get to these two holes here. And let me see if I could get that guy cut. I usually just cut them with something and just, call it good, because I don't like messing around with it too much. If you're not comfortable doing it this way, well, you could take those two screws out. It's a hardened steel cable, so sometimes you can get it cut, sometimes you can't. Let me go get a different cutter. That's not cooperating very good. Alright, well, I finally messed around and got the right tool to cut it. That cable was not cooperating very much. I got it moved, got it taped. I used these wire wrap pliers. They have a hardened cutter on them. So that did the job. So where we're at now is I've got my window taped, it's in position. Okay, I have access to these two bolts here. So I'm going to get those two taken out. If you drop it, it's not a disaster. It's not the end of the world. It'll just fall down the bottom of the door. There you are. Alright. So you got two bolts. I already took this one out. Two bolts come out of these two holes. Right here. Got it lined up. It's lined up right there. So what we want to do now is this is the new motor, okay? So it sets in there like this. We've got two bolts here, there's two down there, and there's three on that motor, okay? And you'll have to unplug. You'll have to unplug the plug for the motor. That's it right here, okay? And I know I'm blocking a lot of this, but it's really hard to get a video of everything. Sometimes you just got to get a general idea. I've made another video of this same thing, but I didn't do it step by step. Alright, so there you are. There's the 4 bolts that come out of that. one of them has like a little slot in it. So when you put the new one on there, you can get it started and just hang it. Just hang it on there. I'll show that in a moment. Let's see. Get this thing unplugged. That unplugged. We got the 3 bolts for the motor right here. Now I won't loosen that up all the way yet because I don't want it to fall. But you got the bolts in the motor about the same length. So this bolt right here is this one right here. So you're going to start that one a little bit so that when you put it together it'll slide in. And so this bolt right here, hope y'all can see that. This bolt right here is this one here on this motor. So that when you slide that up in here, you can just hang it on there. Now right now what's holding things is this little clip right here. I need to pop that clip loose. The new one comes with a clip. So we just get rid of that. Push that clip through. And it's all just hanging down there now, so just need to unhook that last bolt there. Of course, I'll put a washer on it that's bigger than the hole. Sometimes you got genius activity going on here. There's another. There's another clip right here. I forgot about this one. It's got a clip right there, and you can't see it, of course. Man, that sucker is strong because I just tried to just pull that thing out, and it would not come out. Nothing. There we go. Okay, I just cut the head off. I need it anyway. All right, so here we go. Just be careful when you're doing this so that you don't break the glass. Get this old one out, okay? I don't see what the problem is with it now, but it wouldn't work. You probably take this cover off and all the cable inside there is all fried or something. There's something wrong, it don't work. So anyway, we'll throw that on the ground and slide this new one up there. Now the problem I had with this bolt here was that I had put a bolt in this spot that had a washer on it, didn't need it, so I had to unscrew it manually. So yeah, this is how all this stuff sets on there. I'm going to slide it up in there and hang it. You just kind of have to fish it into this hole the best you can, and be careful with the glass. You don't want to break the glass because glass does things like that. It's not happy when you ding it. So you articulate this thing a little different, because this one is all put together, so you don't want to start problems with this. Get it in there. There we go. And what we'll do is we'll plug this plug in and move it to the right spot. Turn the key on, connect the door to the so that I can turn the window, raise the window up and down. That's the goal here. And you can do that before you put it in. As a matter of fact, I'll show you how that works. I just can't really see everything from there right there, and let's plug this thing in and move it up and down. So we're going to want it to set, when it's in there, we're going to want it to be down here. So let me turn the key on, get it there. This thing is not cooperating with me, is it? I don't want to set where I want to set it. That motor's kind of heavy. Alright, so we'll get the door. And that's going to block your view. You're not going to be able to see much, but well, I'll try to. Everything that's got grease all over it. Try to get it so you can see as much as possible. This Acura decided to have this little panel here so it doesn't come out. Yeah, I suppose you could take it all apart if you want. You take it all apart in 1,000 pieces. So you could do this one little part, this one little up and down movement. Anyway, just want to get it over here where you can plug the plugs in. Alright, see about flipping that thing up and down a bit. That side's working. This have it plugged in or something. Somewhere. I plugged in all the plugs, right? Somewhere along here I don't have something plugged in. Alright, so I finally got the thing hooked up. Had to get it all over the place, but anyway, so what we're going to do is I'm going to lower this thing down so it's in a better spot, closer to a usable range, because those two little tabs inside here, they set right here. They set right here on this shuttle that goes up and down. So I'm going to try to get it in a pretty good spot. That's close enough. Close enough for now. Tell you, that thing is unwieldy sometimes. Just trying to get it to cooperate just a little bit. Alright. So I'm going to try to stick this thing back in there again. It's not cooperating very well, so you're just going to have to shove it in there the best you can. Without busting the glass and everything else. It's all kind of interesting how things ding around in there. Heavy on one end. And of course, I'm always trying to stay out of the way so that we can make a video out of this thing. Maybe I should just say forget about that, because I'll be messing with this thing all day. Almost. Alright. Move it a little bit. There we go. Force that window up a little bit there. Alright, I got that one hanging there, finally. Took forever. Now that motor is just hanging there, so technically you could do all this with the door panel hanging here. It's in the way a little bit, but it's possible. So I'll just leave it there for now. I have to reach in there and get that motor in the right place. Then you got to reach around over here with the wire and clip that wire in. It's got 2 clips. Go either. That's fine. So before you tighten up anything, you're going to want to get some of these bolts started and some of these holes in my window. Go down a little bit. There we go. Give me a little space to move things around. It's not cooperating very good. There's 2 screws that are a little longer. Those 2 screws that are a little longer go in here. Let's see here. Put these down here. Put these 2 lined up. It's quite a surprise how many times I've messed with this window regulator on this car. The second time since I've had it, and it's been done a couple times before I got it. Okay, so we got these 2 here, and there's 3 there. You're going to tighten these up. Don't be afraid to tighten these up nicely because you don't want them to come loose. So make sure they're nice and stout. So all we need is one of those things to come loose and start rattling around. I'm going to take the door apart and get it fixed. Make sure that cable is in the right spot back there because I think I need to adjust it. Because if that cable is laying in the wrong place, it'll pinch it. And you got problems. Not fixing that cable. This thing, boy, I tell you, they put the craziest kind of plugs on it. And you can't get things out. Comes with a new plug. is in there really good. Alright. Get that new plug clicked in there. Let's see about that wire. That wire is way over there. And it's got a place that it needs to click in. Alright. So it's in a good spot now. Have to make sure and not forget that, because if it's not in the right place, it's going to get you in trouble. Okay, so those things are tight. Now let's see about lining this thing up. Still have my window connected. Let's see how it looks here. Looks pretty good. So don't tighten it up till you get both of them started, because you don't want anything to be twisted or torqued or anything. You want everything to go in there nice and smooth and easy. And this second one, this one in the back here, is the one that's a tricky job. Looks like it's lined up pretty good. Let's see if I can get it started by hand. And you could get a socket, a magnetic socket maybe. That's a tricky job out there. You can get a straight socket and fix the bolt onto it. Okay, so I got the straight socket on here, and I've got the bolt stuck to it. I'll show you that in just a moment. Because that wiggly socket's not going to do it. So I got a piece of masking tape, and I shoved that masking tape in between the socket and the bolt there. So that'll hold it so I can get it in there. And you kind of have to do your best to eyeball that thing. Any extension? I thought that was enough. There we go. Success. How about that? I bet you somebody out there was wondering if I could really do that or not. Alright, so that gets the window is on. Really, this dang tape works really good. There we go. Alright. Give it a test. That's all it needs to do. Alright. So we need to put all this stuff back on here. Which this stuff is kind of raggedy, but you know, that's why people just throw it away, because it just gets pretty nasty, you know, after a while. And you could get some super weatherstrip adhesive or tape or something and tape this stuff up here. I just try to put it up the best I can like that, call it good. Just call it good, man. Alright, so everything is already plugged in. The only problem you're going to have from here is getting that window, the door lock mechanism to cooperate. That's another tricky job, right? So let's keep an eye on it and reach around back there like that and line it up in the hole. Get that thing hanging. You got to hang it over the top, up here across the top. Get it hanging on the top. If Tap it in a little bit. And go down. Line up all those little push pins. Get all those push pins done in there and you're done. Alright. Plug all the plugs in. Plugs. And then you'll have to reach in here and get this rod and hook that rod on there. And of course you can't see it, but I promise you I'm hooking it. It always helps to have some nice long needle nose like these. I use these suckers on everything. So, after you show that rod who's boss and get it plugged in, get in there. Swing that little clip around. Swing that little clip around and click it in place so it stays. Slide it back until that hole lines up. Once that hole lines up, you're in good shape. Now, for some reason this thing doesn't look like it wants to sit in the right place right here. I don't know why. Sometimes you got to mess with it a little bit. Sure didn't look like that when I started. This part wasn't hanging out like that. Right here, because this thing is hanging out. That's the problem. Alright, so I figured out what the problem was. And I had to take the door panel back off. Get this wire out because this wire was hanging down in there and causing it to stick out funny. So that was the problem with that. So yeah, now you just get this little guy and plug it in, and this cable kind of wraps around inside there and sets inside this insulation. Of course, it's impossible for it to be easy. Slides in there like that, clicks in. So, and I've already put this bolt in here. There's a bolt in there. You just tighten that up. Check your lock and make sure that there's nothing binding. Of course, on these Hondas and stuff, when the door's open, it won't let you lock it. So, you know, anyway, whatever. But this door, it's kind of tatty anyway. I need to take it apart and do some work on this hand pull area because it's coming apart a little bit. But anyway, so that's it on the door. Works just fine. Probably need to lube it a little bit. It's been sitting here for a while with the key on, so it's not as fast. So that's it. I hope somebody got to see some of that video. I'm in the way half the time. Takes all kinds of angles to get it all.